We all have movies that we haven't seen, blind spots. Sometimes they're movies that it seems that everyone in the world has seen except for you. Other times it's maybe a subgenre or an actor whose filmography that you've yet to really explore.
In a Norman Jewison.
Snap out of it!
I'm confused.
They say there's nothing new under the sun.
Wait a minute! Wait a minute!
Welcome back to HMP. My name is Adam and I plan on doing exactly that in my new series that I'm calling Filling in the Gaps. And I'm also doing Filling in the Gaps series to really kind of force myself to watch new movies that I haven't seen before. I think we're all guilty of watching a lot of the same stuff over and over, and it's comfort watching, I understand that. But there are over 100 years worth of cinema from all across the world, and I wanted to start this series to throw myself down a rabbit hole of discovery and expand my own knowledge of cinema, which I do think is okay, but of course it could always be better. And that's the goal of this Filling in the Gaps series, is getting better. So let's start filling in the gaps. Yeah, I'm branding the hell out of this thing. With a movie that I've known about nearly my entire life. I knew the plot, I've known the movie's reputation over the years. You'd see highlights of this when they would be talking about movies that were made in the 80s and stuff. But for whatever reason, I'd never actually gotten around to seeing Moonstruck, directed by Norman Jewison, starring Cher, Nicolas Cage, Danny Aiello, Olivia Dukakis, and John Mahoney. Here's the IMDb plotline. As we know, IMDb always 100% correct in everything they say and or do. Loretta Castellini, a bookkeeper from Brooklyn, New York, finds herself in a difficult situation when she falls for the brother of a man she has agreed to marry. Now, to be honest with you, I can't say that I've actually seen any Cher movies, so I was actually going into this really knowing nothing outside of her mega music hits. Interestingly, I think actually waiting until my 40s to see this movie may have been the best thing for me, because I now have a certain level of life experience to draw comparisons from, which is pretty cool. And in this movie, Cher's like 41, and I gotta say, looking pretty good in this movie. But they only play it up just so, you know. At the beginning of the movie with the strands of gray hair, you can see, you know, she's got lines on her face. And I gotta say, as an adult man, I'm like, okay, Cher. She immediately shows you who her character is when taking care of her soon-to-be fiance, Johnny, played by Danny Aiello, before he takes off to Sicily to visit his mother on her deathbed. As he's leaving for Sicily, he asks Loretta to contact his brother Ronnie, played by Nicolas Cage, who he hasn't seen in 5 years, and invite him to their wedding. But wouldn't you know it, they fall for each other. Or maybe they're just desperate to hold on to something. But can they make it work, or will it tear the already on-edge families apart? She's a widow whose husband died in an accident years ago, and while Loretta is a lovely enough lady, she just hasn't made that transition to wife, and she feels like it might be now or never, and that she should actually just cling to Johnny, even though she may not really even love him. You can really feel the conflict within her without having to throw her hands up to the heavens and be wild all the time with exasperation and stuff. It's a really great natural performance. Understandable why she won the Best Actress Oscar for this. She's really, really fantastic. One of the great things about going back through Nicolas Cage's filmography and everything, like we did on Half-Ass Movie Podcast just a few months ago, Nicolas Cage has always been Nicolas Cage.
And you have to do it. You have to, or I'll fire you. Do you understand?
We crack on Nicolas Cage in his later years for going absolute ham in movies, and for better or for worse, truth be told, he's been doing that his entire career. And he's Nicolas Caging it up here just as much as he is anywhere else.
I lost my hand! I lost my bride! Johnny has his hand! Johnny has his bride! You want me to take my heartbreak, put it away and forget?
Now, it's not a bad performance, mind you, but it's certainly a Nicolas Cage performance, and as is often the case, your mileage may vary. But I really did enjoy him, and I love the odd character takes that I'm sure were Cage's insistence. Olivia Dukakis plays Loretta's mother, Rose, who has to contend with her cheating husband, Cosmo, played by Vincent Gardenia. Dukakis won an Oscar for her supporting role, and a really lovely, underrated performance. Not showy at all, it's very grounded. I doubt you would see a performance like this win Best Supporting Actress these days, and that's unfortunate because this is a great, realistic performance in a movie where a lot of characters are just swinging from the ceiling, man. John Mahoney is probably the unsung performance of this movie. He plays a down-and-out college professor who has a penchant for dating ladies that are far too young for him. The interplay between these two characters at dinner and their walk home is probably one of the best in the movie. It's just two actors acting together. It's lovely. Speaking of acting, talking, let's talk about Danny Aiello. I have no idea what he's doing or what movie he's in. None of this makes sense. I mean, we're really not supposed to like him, but we don't dislike him because he's a horrible person or anything. He's just an annoying asshole who's indecisive and spineless, and frankly, he's just a cartoon character.
What's the matter with you?
My scalp is not getting enough blood sometimes.
Ultimately, this is a movie that I really did enjoy. As a divorced man in my 40s, this movie rings a lot more different than it would have if I saw it when I was, say, 17. And for that, I'm really actually grateful. A solid 3 out of 5 stars, definitely a recommendation for Cher, and if you're a Nicolas Cage completist, this should definitely be on your short list. That will do it for this Filling in the Gaps. What are your thoughts on Moonstruck? Remember to be a dirty baby and leave a comment for your mom below, and we'll see you in the next one. That will... Christ! Oh, just put it there. It'll be fine. Jeez. At least it only got on the floor. No electronics were hurt.